time. You have to face the music, do the time. Hello, everyone. Mariana and I, when we get two hosts together, we don't know who's going to lead and who's going to follow. So that's why we were just sitting there, not sure which one was going to speak first. But we'll probably both be kind of hosting this episode anyway of the Watchdog Report here. This is going to be about the 11/20 school board meeting that just happened yesterday. We're shooting this. It's Friday the 21st. So you're likely seeing it on Saturday, unless it's late Friday night. But the meeting just happened. It was the last meeting for two school board members, and it was full of its share. Surprisingly, as full of fireworks as it was, there really wasn't a whole lot discussed in terms of the school and stuff. There wasn't really much done, with that, but there was still a lot going on in the meeting, a lot of fireworks. What do you think, Mariana?
That is correct. Honestly, it is what I was expecting that was going to happen, Jonathan. I was expecting for the libtard to come out in numbers, which they did, and that's because they did put an announcement out there since Abigail Tierney was retiring to come and sing the praises to her name. All right, so they came out to basically sing the praises to her name, but in doing so, it was disgusting. Okay, to see the lack of respect, okay, from these people towards Kelly Brent. Now, I said from the very beginning that this is supposed to be the people of tolerance, the people of kindness, and all this other, bull crap that you guys already know. I don't have to repeat it. But they are the rudest, unkindest, vicious people you'll ever come across. Okay. Um, I've been saying for the longest that this has all been about them bringing in their politics and their
Yeah.
agendas. But what's typical of the left is that they will gaslight the community to make people believe, like they did with the Terry Mickle campaign, because a lot of people go, oh well, Terry won. Well, my question to them is, did she? Is this a victory or is this a theft? Because,
Yeah.
and the reason I say that is because she ran a campaign of lies. And unfortunately, when the people who fell for her lies open their eyes, they're going to really see that, number one, she's not a conservative. She
Yeah.
was never a Republican, although she tried to, pass herself as one.
Yeah.
She has been endorsed by left-wing lunatic organizations, like I've said before. So it's going to be very eye-opening, very eye-opening. But the lack of respect, getting back to the meeting yesterday, was I expecting that? I was, because even the way they were addressing Mrs. Brent was disrespectful to the nines. Okay, to the nines. And I think you saw that yourself if you were following the meeting.
Yeah, that's what we're going to start doing now. We're not going to do the live watch alongs at the meetings. We're just going to, because many people just tune into the website anyway. So we're just going to let people tune in. If you want to watch the meetings, go to the West Shore School District website. You can watch the meetings, and then we're going to do an after show like this, whether we do it right after the meeting or we do it a day or two after. That's what we're going to start doing now. Because for one, it's easier for us logistically, and number two, like I said, they air it on their website anyway. So my main concern, the reason I started doing it, was that they would take things out of the meeting or start removing school board meetings from the
Yeah.
website. So that was my main concern. But if they haven't done that over the last 12 months, I don't see them starting to do it now. And if they do start, then we will resume what we were doing before. And
Right.
again, it was the parents' comments. Surprisingly, I do want to say real quick though that there was a couple of student comments on this one. They weren't about the social issues dealing with the school district and stuff, but they did have a number of student speakers last night. And I want to again just bring up to you real quick before we start getting into the meat of it. I don't have a problem with student speakers. I think it's great. I think it's great for the students to be able to talk to the school board, to be able to talk about themselves and their journey. I think all of that is great. Do you think, in terms of positioning in the meeting, is that something that should really be before the meat of the meeting? Like, shouldn't be the agenda? shouldn't the agenda items be what's talked about first and then get to the comments after? Because
I I agree with you. I agree with you,
because it's
but
just
put it in perspective, and this is what I mean. They started doing what I call the rah-rah section after the parents started coming to the meetings, and the parents started, creating like the old YouTube channel that we had that went down, and we started with the boiling point when we started really telling the people. Now, this was about the time that I was running, what was really happening behind the doors of the West Shore School District. So they incorporated the rah-rah section, okay, to try to make the people see, oh, look how great we're doing. Now, I have nothing against the children that they are exceeding, okay, and the children that are, reaching their goals. And yes, they should be applauded. But I've always said that should either be done in a separate meeting during the week or a little bit towards the end. But then again, keeping in mind that some of these kids have to go to school in the following day, um, you know, yeah, you want to get them in so they have the option to go home, and get their rest for the following school night. So, but
yeah,
because it's school night, they should either do it on a Friday or on a Saturday. But not neither here nor there. It was incorporated for them to try to say, "Oh, look how wonderful we are," and
yeah,
try to get the attention off to what's really happening.
yeah. And well, credit to the students, they rarely address the social issues and stuff that's going on in the school. I think they should do that more. But then again, I think you'd get parents manipulating their kids to come in
Oh yeah.
and, so I think it's best to let the kids say what they want to say. And often it's not even about some of the issues at the West Shore School District. And I think that just goes to show that the kids, at least some of the kids that we get to see, they are focused on learning and stuff. And if only the school board and some of the administration would follow suits, then the West Shore School District probably wouldn't have the kind of issues that it currently has. Um, so there's a lot of clips. We have a couple of clips here from last night's meeting here. Which one do you want to start with, or did you want to talk about something else before we get to the clips?
Um, let's do the clips a little later.
All right. Let's hold off on the
Course,
clip.
okay. And the reason for that, I think that there's some things that we need to discuss before we get to the clips.
All right.
Okay. And I'm gonna be very clear. So we lost the school board majority. Okay. And
Yep.
like I stated, it was a theft, it was not a victory because this campaign was based on lies. Okay. Now, Region 1, we knew we were going to lose that because nobody would step up to Region 1 because Region 1 is a hot mess. That's the region that I'm in. Okay.
Yeah.
However, we are already starting to see, not only hear the rumbles, but see the changes that are already happening, and they haven't sworn these people in yet. So let's talk. Okay. First, we saw that Mrs. Thomas resigned. Okay. Now they put in her replacement, John Dormuff. Now, John Dormuff is a flaming liberal. Okay.
Yeah.
He is against everything that the conservative parent want for not only their child, but want to implement for the protection of all children. Okay. So if you guys think that you have an ally with him, you do not. I'm going to tell you that right now. He was approached, to my understanding, in reference to the library resource policy 109, in which he is deadly against it. Now, this policy has been tabled. And in school board lingo, anybody who's worked in the education field like I have, in that lingo, that basically means that that's going to be tabled until we get another conservative board. So that can be tabled for years because
Yeah.
they are not looking to push that policy forward at all.
No,
That
in
being
fact,
stated,
they're doing the opposite. They want to undo everything that the conservative board has done over the last 2 years, and they're
oh,
going to
they're
do it.
going to undo it.
And they're
They're going
going
to
to do it
undo
in
it.
one meeting.
Yeah, they're gonna undo it. So people get ready. Okay. Always keep in mind, that elections have consequences. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get out there, to vote for whatever your reason was, okay, election has consequences and you enabled this to happen. All right. So that being stated, we found out last night, and we've been confirming throughout the day that the administration has started a anonymous confidential committee,
Yeah.
and they will not even tell the school board members, they will not tell the school board directors, their bosses, who is in this committee. And what this committee will do is that they will pass and vote to pass library books without your consent, without your knowledge who they are, into the school. So
Yep.
Christy read the book All Boys Are in Blue last night, and it's
Yes.
disgusting. She read it was
Oh, it's
disgusting.
disgusting.
What we didn't know, if you and when you play the clip, you will see it. While she's speaking, and she's speaking about that book, All Boys Are in Blue, Abigail Tierney says, "Oh, was there a challenge on this book?"
Yeah.
Okay. And I found that a little bit odd. Okay. Why would she ask that? Okay, well, the reason she asked is because that same night, yesterday, before this meeting, this little confidential committee passed for that book to be in all our libraries here in the West Shore School District. Now, about the challenge. I challenge that book. I challenge the breakup list. I challenge Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, which is the other disgusting book that Christy read in the first time that she did this, on August 14, 16, and 17. I submitted it.
Yeah.
Okay. And Matthew Gay emailed me back that they received it and that they were going to review it. This was in August. We're practically almost in December. It crickets. Okay. They did no follow up. They must have taken it and tossed it in the trash. Okay. They're saying and lying that none of these books were challenged when they were. So now they passed a book, approve a book to be in our library. Okay. Which is this one that was challenged and they ignored the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. So is having a private, a anonymous, a secretive, confidential committee legal? No, it's not. I'm going to tell
No.
you why. Because our tax money pays for those books, number one. And number two, is something that they have to vote on. Now, it's not the board granted, okay, but it's still through the administration. It's something that they have to vote on. We, the parents, need to have a say. Now, this little committee here, to my understanding, there is not one conservative parent on it. Not
Yeah.
one. Like they have another group called Voices for the District, something like that, a group of parents that is full of libtard teachers, and they will not allow and they will not open the door for a conservative parent to enter these committees. So they are going to bring in the trash. The trash is already there. They're going to bring in more. Okay.
Yep.
So it's going to really take a massive push on our side to get this removed. And even if you challenge it, and let me tell you, I don't think you've seen the challenges, the pages, it's 3 pages long. You
Yeah.
have to read the book. You have to write like a book report and write what you want them to do and why and what was offensive and
Yeah.
all this other crapola. And you know me, I'm a little extra. So I also put the PA statutes that they are violating. Okay, because it is a crime to have this material in the school. And that was ignored. So that's one piece that I want you
Yeah.
guys to be informed. Number two, they're bringing in 2 solicitors from 2 different companies. Now there's one that's called Stump and Something. Okay.
Stock and
But
leader.
and that is AKA Stock and Leader. Stock
Yeah.
and Leader changed their name. So they're bringing Stock and Leader back in, guys.
Yeah.
They're
It's
bringing
the
Stock
same.
and
Yeah.
Leader
It's
back
the
in.
same. This is the solicitor before before the whole solicitor snafu or whatever it was when they changed solicitors. This is who it was before that, right?
Correct. They're Stock and Leader under a new name,
Yeah.
and they were not transparent enough to tell the parents because they're hoping that the new name is going to confuse them. They were not transparent enough to tell the parents that this is indeed Stock and Leader. And if you remember, before Stock and Leader changed their name, there we have put some information out there, and I can still find it if we ever need it, of one of their lawyers, okay, that got in trouble for pedophilia.
Yeah.
Okay. And Stock and Leader is all about bringing this trash into our schools.
Yeah.
So the other solicitor that they're bringing, it has to do with the laws, I guess, surrounding the children in special ed. Now, another thing that's coming back is sports equity. Now, the daughter of one of the candidates that won, I'm not going to say the name because you know me, I like to respect children, but she has been running her mouth in the school that she's in, telling the children that because this particular candidate won, that they're bringing back sports equity. So we're going to
Yeah.
have boys now in women's sports.
Which is illegal. So we're going to be definitely continuing our work on that front as soon as they overturn that next month in the first meeting. We know it's going to be the first meeting. They're going to literally have a
It has to
vote
be.
and overturn every single thing in the very first meeting.
Exactly. And but the
So
thing is this, there's a mandate that Donald Trump, put in place.
an executive order, yeah,
And as per Abigail Turney's, as per what she said in one of the meetings, well, executive orders are not law. No, they're not law, but when there's an executive order, you must abide by it.
yeah, or
So,
suffer the consequences. Like it's unlikely anybody's going to jail, but the West Shore is going to lose federal funding
well, we're gonna make
real
sure they
quick.
do. We're gonna
Yeah,
make sure they do because there's different ways of contacting the DOJ, and this time we're gonna have to really do what we need to do to make sure that they lose federal funding. Because the only thing that's gonna affect the West Shore School District, the only thing they care about, is not your children. It's not your
no,
children. It's the
it's the money.
dollar bill.
Yep, it's the
Exactly.
money.
And this is why I'm saying if you're hearing this podcast and you're looking to buy real estate and you see that the school district is West Shore School District here in Cumberland County, either don't buy the house unless you like, your child being indoctrinated. Either don't buy the house, or if you're going to buy the house, be able to put your child in cyber school, homeschool, or some sort of private school, because not only are the schools horrendous and the administration is horrendous, as you guys can see by yourselves, um, but they're going to break your back in taxes because
Yep,
that 10-year tax plan that Brian Geiswhite instilled, it's going to be instilled again, and it's going to be forced. It's going to be enforced. So expect that also.
yep,
Okay. Now, another thing to expect is the bathrooms. So
yep.
the bathrooms are going to be co-ed. Understand what I just said, parents. The bathrooms will be co-ed. Okay, all genders. Now, what they're looking to do, that I don't know who's the Einstein that had this plan, but they're going to, you know how when you go to the stalls, usually it's like a little space, a little opening that outside you can like peek through.
Yeah,
Okay, well that those are gonna be sealed. Okay, it's like a new stall they're gonna put. It's
yeah,
gonna be sealed from top to bottom and side to side, and that is what they call security. And then there's
yeah,
going to be a common wash area that boy and girl will use. And I think we heard Janelle Conrad speak about that in the meeting yesterday. So that is their big plan, okay? Because there's no common sense in the West Shore School
no, it's
District. They've lost
no,
common
it's
sense.
they've lost. Yeah, it's just I can't. They're doing it so openly and brazenly, like just oh yeah, finally the right side. The right is going to win, and it's like, do you hear yourselves? Do you
Correct.
see it? Do you hear yourselves? I don't understand how people don't. They're so in their own head. They're in their own thing that they can't consider anything that they're not always right. They think they're always right in every regard. And it's so
Now,
disturbing.
it is, and expect more frivolous spending. We also, I think it was Janelle Conrad, okay, that she went through some of the things that they're spending money on. Okay. um Jonathan, please explain to me, why should a squeegee cost $155?
A squeegee.
A squeegee, one of them squeegee things like for the
Yeah.
windows and stuff. So they're spending $155 on squeegees, on a squeegee.
Are they spending
They are
100? Are they
spending,
getting 155 of them?
I
That would
doubt
be
it.
that would be the only way
One
that would be okay.
one
If
squeegee
they
is
got
$155.
150 of them for the $150.
Exactly. They're spending $800 on a toilet seat.
I can buy myself a handicapped toilet for less than that. Just want to put that out there. I have to like I've been carrying around the same handicapped toilet with me for the last 10 years because when I move around, I take my handicapped toilet with me. And that is it will even with inflation, even with it's more expensive than what I paid for it now, but I keep my eyes on it just in case I ever got to replace it. That you can get a whole handicapped toilet for far less than $800, and you're spending it on a
Okay.
seat.
Correct. On a seat, on a toilet seat. Okay. They're talking about solar panel for the garages. Okay, do you know
For
how
the
much solar
e-cars.
panels for the garages? Yeah.
I want to point out that it took Mariana like 5 full minutes for me to understand that whole concept. It's for the e-cars. It's for people who drive e-cars, students and teachers and whatever who drive e-cars, because they can't afford the electric bill or anything to do that. Solar panels is actually probably would be a smart move, but if they're using it for e-cars, then I would have to say that it's stupid, because you're going to run into a whole bunch of problems with that. It's unlikely that it's unlikely you generate enough with the solar panels to be able to charge, depending on how many e-cars there are, I guess, but I don't know. That seems a little bit frivolous too, especially when you're $50 million in the hole.
Exactly. So get ready for more frivolous spending on your tax dollar, and still have to, feed the superintendent his tacos and his $200,000 a year salary for doing absolutely nothing. Now, another concern that the parents have had is this opt-out option. Okay. So we saw that they had this symposium with the children on sexting, and they called it cybersecurity. And they're claiming, oh, it's fine because it came from the Attorney General's office. No, it's not fine, because they misled the parents. Okay. And sexting is not part of cybersecurity at all.
No.
It's part of privacy. It's part of what is it called? Sexual criminology. Okay. It's part of that. And why would a fourth and fifth grader need to know anything about sexting?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you add on the books. Okay. Now, let me tell you, let's get back to the books here for a minute. You know what I did, Jonathan? Just out of curiosity to see what would happen. Christy gave me some pictures of the books that she's been reading, right? That are really disgusting and really graphic. Now, you know that Facebook really has no kind of standards, okay? Their standards are really like in the toilet. So I
Yeah.
decided to post it on our pages for the parents to see it. I posted 3 times, and 3 times Facebook removed the post of all those pictures and the stuff that was saying 3 times
No
because
kidding.
of nudity, sexual graphic, okay? And this is Facebook. Now, Christy's clip of speaking last night and reading the books, I had to upload it 3 more times today because they kept removing it because of sexual contact. So if this is Facebook
Oh man.
removing this, okay, why is this in our schools?
Okay. So if this episode gets taken down, what I'll have to do is probably take her clip out of the broadcast and then repost it. And I might even do that twice, or no, I'm not going to do it twice because I don't want people to see the wrong one. If it happens, if it gets pulled down, then we'll make sure. And I'm also going to put a full disclaimer on it when I post it as well. Hopefully, we won't get dinged for it. But yes, that
And
is.
not go
Thank
to
you
the
for telling
Rumble
me that.
channel,
That's
guys.
yeah,
Go to the
that's
Rumble channel.
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Rumble channel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Rumble channel. Always go to the Rumble channel anytime something gets removed or anything from Facebook or YouTube. Exactly. Yeah. So in fact, what I might do, we'll try it on Facebook still and on YouTube. But if we get dinged on it, make sure you go to watch it on Rumble. And I'm saying it now before we show the clip to make sure that people know that. Make sure you go to Rumble if you want to see Christy's clip. If this has been pulled down, we are going to show it here, but if you're, I may have to take it down or off of the YouTube and Facebook broadcast. So if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook and you don't see the clip from Christy, go to Rumble. That's the only way we're likely to get it posted, actually.
Or reach out to
And
me and I will send it to your email if I have to.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can
But
always
I'm
reach
gonna
out to the
keep,
page. Yeah, reach out
yeah.
to the page. We can always do that. And also, I may even just be able to take some of the words out and stuff, like bleep them out or something, and then that might work for us. We'll have to see how this goes, everybody. But that just goes to show what is in the schools. That's why you brought that up, is because that just goes
And
to
now,
show
and then
what's
another
in the
thing,
schools.
because there's something I haven't shared with you. Um, the demographics of Pennsylvania, okay, um, and the West Shore School District is changing. There's people from other walks of life and cultures that have come in and moved in. Now, I say that to say this week I was speaking to a gentleman who happens to be a Muslim. And he looked at me, he goes, "Can I ask you a question?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can." And he's like, "My daughter is now going to the West Shore School District." Now, her daughter, she does the hijab and all that stuff. Okay. And she's coming home telling me that the teachers are saying that there's no such thing as gender, and that you can identify if you as a boy if you want to, you can identify as a girl, you can identify whatever you want because there's no such thing. Okay, and she's also telling me about these books. Okay, now this is his daughter telling the dad about the books in the library that she's seen that they have a section for the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Okay, and the behavior of some of the kids and that he's witnessed. He's like, "Why isn't the school board doing anything?" He goes, "And I thought America was more conservative." So I looked at him, I smiled, I said, "Well, welcome to America." I told him, "What's happening is happening worldwide."
Yeah.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, she is accurate. Your daughter's not lying to you. This is happening. And we had a conservative board that was trying to fight this, but community members and activists and advocates of different walks of life have been fighting them, silencing them to the point that they want to remove them from the school because they're fighting for their right to keep their politics, their agenda, and their smut in our schools. So it is correct. Now he says to me, "Well, I think I'm gonna have to show up to one of the board meetings one day because I'm gonna help them understand how in my culture that's not acceptable. And God created man and woman." And I said, "Well, I mean, you're always welcome to come to the board meetings, but I would caution you about mannerisms and how you may react to certain things, okay? Because some of those board members will make sure that you leave in handcuffs." Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is for a while now, the ladies and I, when we talk amongst each other, we've been saying, this is a perfect formula for a disaster to happen because you never know who's the person that's going to be so offended that, and I'm not saying that he is, because, I'm not, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying in general, you never know who's going to get so offended that something may occur.
Yeah.
If a student gets offended from a different walk of life, okay, something may occur. So in essence, by bringing in this politics, by bringing in these books, by bringing in these agendas, they are opening up the doors to danger in many ways. How many people don't have mental health issues nowadays? You're opening up the doors to dangers. They're putting our kids in danger, okay, by bringing these things into our schools. So this is something that is hard to talk about, but we've seen it happen in other states. Can very well happen here, And I always pray to God that it's not a tragedy that will finally open the eyes of our community that
Yeah.
this evil must be stopped.
I mean, even if the tragedy happened, there's still those that are going to double down on their position. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it already in other places in the country when tragedy has happened, and they're still hunkered in their position. So, but hopefully enough people wake up before something like that happens, because I certainly don't want to see something like that happen in our area, uh, or anywhere. I don't want to see it happen anywhere.
Neither do I. I will never want to see children hurt because of the bad decision of these people that think that they know better than the parents, or these activists in our community trying to push their agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm concerned about that also.
Hmm.
So I got nieces and nephews in various school districts around the area, so I don't want anything bad to be happening to them. And it's dangerous out there right now, and it's because of some of what we're seeing. It's because they're so filled with hate. In fact, that's a good segue. Do you mind if I play the John Cobb clip?
Let's go for it.
Because I think now I'm going to play this clip. It's from John Cobb. He was at the school board meeting last night, and I think what he says is everything he says is accurate. First of all, it's 100% accurate because he talks about what he witnessed in the meeting. And then everything he talks about after that is also 100% accurate. So I am going to be reaching out to him to try and get him on an episode, but I wanted to play this clip because it just goes to show how the meeting was and how it unfolded, like before the parents' comments and during the parents' commenting. So let's watch this.
John Cobb. Welcome.
Hi, I'm John Cobb, Lemoyne. So I had a totally upbeat, happy conversation I wanted to have with the board, but I've decided I'm not going to do that. I observed the crowd tonight and saw how most of them didn't stand up for Ms. Brent when she was getting her award for her years of service here. And I find that to be sad and disgusting. The politics of personal destruction, that was coined by Bill Clinton back in '94 and used again by Hillary. And that at one time was considered a negative and horrible thing. And it seems to have become a common tool by people working to drive the progressive agenda in the West Shore School District. And I'm not speaking to all the school board members. There may be a few that are a part of this activity. It may be others. I don't know, but those who need to hear this will hear it and know who they are. Because of a difference of opinion, hatred has replaced respect, and it's taken a hold of so many of you all, of many of you within this room, not just the board, but everyone in this room. What sort of vile human being would work to have someone fired from their job over a difference of opinion? Progressives, that's who, progressives in this room.
They can't talk to the audience.
Okay, then I'll speak towards the board. Excuse me. What sort of cretin would slander a person's character over a difference of opinion? People in this room. What sort of putrid animal would destroy someone's business? People in this room. It's disgusting, vile, and horrible. And why? Because some people don't want their daughters to have young men disrobe and defecate in the same rooms. That's it. I mean, it's not a big deal. This board had the opportunity to stop this travesty, the so-called conservatives, but they didn't have the balls themselves to stand up as adults. The politics of personal destruction, alive and well in the heart of the progressives in West Shore School District. Thank you.
That was John Cobb. That's what he had to say to the school board. And I think I think they needed to hear it. I think it needed to be said. And that's why I got the clip and wanted to play it on this show. And I'll likely be releasing some of these clips throughout the week also, because these are all public meetings, so we can. And the local news isn't going to do it. So we absolutely will. And everything he said is 100% accurate. Like,
Well,
he
he's
did not
spot
say
on.
one lie or one fabrication in what he said.
He is spot on. I know Mr. Cobbs, and he's a very respected resident here in Cumberland County, very respected. And what he said, what needed to be said. And I applaud him. I totally applaud him, and I agree with him, because what the level of evil that we've seen from these people is ridiculous. And like he said, to even try to come against somebody's livelihood, I mean, that is downright evil, because you can't agree. You can't agree. Listen, again, this is America. You have your right to say what you have to say, or, live how you want to live, and you have your opinion, and I will fight for your right, to say what you need to say for your opinion, but you don't have the right to harm somebody else. And these people are demonic, they're evil. And you're right. The media will not cover it. We had Penn Lies there yesterday. Okay. And, the representative from Penn Lies, I think it was Zachary Hoops, he was trying to follow Mrs. Brent out of the meeting, and I chased him out like a rat. I thought, you leave her alone, get away from her. But even when Casey and I escorted her to her car, not that she minds speaking to him, because she didn't, but enough is enough. He still found his way around. Okay. And he kept insisting. So Kelly's like, Mariana, let me just talk to him. I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm staying right here until I see you driving away home safe. Okay. So he told me, oh, don't record me. Yeah, Mike told I wasn't going to record him. So anyway, he was polite. He was polite to her. She was polite back. And I told him to his face, I better not read you misrepresenting her or you misquoting her because I'm going to go after you. The bowling point's going to go after you. So you better think twice. I mean, I just confronted him in 30 ways into Sunday.
Yeah.
So that being stated, I saw what they put out today. So although he didn't quote her in any way, he did not, he still spin the lie. He still
Yeah.
spin the lie and he still spin the false narrative of the sunshine violation and these awful conservatives versus speaking the truth. I mean, his dumb behind, and I'm sorry for saying it that way, but his dumb behind was sitting in that meeting and he
Yeah.
saw what he saw, but he'd rather do this, okay? When it comes to the truth, just not even look at it, not even disclose it. He'd rather do that than really disclose what happened in the truth because of the bottom line, which is the dollar bill. So he will sell his soul to Satan, to whoever he has to sell it, but he will not put out the truth.
No, Penn Live doesn't put out the truth. The York Dispatch, they don't put out the truth. There's almost no media in the area that's covering this or doing this. We're the only ones, and even I've seen a lot of people are on this group page, the Ratchet 5 channel news, and it's a great idea and all, but coincidentally, and I found out why later on, but they wouldn't let me post any of my Boiling Point podcast stuff, share anything from the podcast on there. And I found out later it's because of who potentially is running that page. So
Correct.
that it's unlikely that they'll let me post any of my podcasts or anything from my podcast on there. So there's a lot of people who try and curb the information that you get. And you really have to be wary of it. That's why I always tell people, look into it for yourself, investigate for yourself, fact check for yourself, because that's really the only way or you can listen to us. And if you fact check us, then it's only going to take you a couple episodes to realize that we are going to tell you the truth, even when it's stuff we don't want to hear. That happens. Sometimes we do have to report on stuff we don't want to hear. Next month, we're going to be doing a whole lot of that on the West Shore School District. We're going to be reporting on a whole bunch of stuff that we're not going to want to report on.
Now let's look at also ABC. Not even 2 hours after the school board meeting was done, man, 2-3 hours, they put out a hit piece. Okay. And people are going, oh, I'm so happy that MAGA Karens are out. But ABC also put on a hit piece. But you know why? Because Danielle Gross has friends in ABC because she works in media that are ready. And it's sad to see that ABC will help her spin her lies, her agenda, and her politics. And they are like really happy to do so. But that should be a conflict of interest. Okay. Because you're helping somebody that works for you and has the segment on ABC to hurt innocent people and spin lies, and they will never speak to the conservative voice. Okay, they will help Danielle Gross spin her lies, and then she has the audacity to come to the school board meeting, talk about, oh, everybody has freedom of speech. No, she's worried because John Cobb said a couple of truths, and a lot of those truths hit her right between eyeballs, because the first one for years now, okay, and that come into these meetings trying to silence the conservative parents and trying to, that little blue card that we signed, that we have to sign, that says that you can't anybody else by name. Whose idea was that? That was Danielle's Gross, okay, and she and Brian Geiswhite and Tostos and Cam, because I have the email, they had a right to know, they came into cahoots to create that in order to silence the conservative voice, because she wasn't liking what the conservative people were saying. And then she had the audacity to sit back behind in that chair, okay, and speak about freedom of speech and limiting people's freedom of speech.
And John Cobb,
the reality.
John Cobb never. We just listened to John Cobb's clip. He never once said anybody couldn't speak or anything. He's saying, what kind of people does it take to do the stuff that you're doing? That's what he's talking about. Of course, you can't hear that. You just want to think that he's attacking your speech. Guess what, Danielle Gross? He wasn't attacking your speech. He was saying that as a person, you're a piece of shit. Correct. Is that clear enough for you? So Danielle, yeah, she really made me upset when she said that. So that's cute. Pardon my language, but that's what he was trying to get a point. That what kind of person does this stuff? Well, Danielle Gross,
She
you're
does.
one of those
She
people.
because
Yeah,
she's been
you're
in
one of
cahoots
those.
with Abigail Cherney. She's been in
Yeah,
cahoots with Abigail Cherney. Okay. They were in cahoots with the Northern York Democratic Club. Okay. And we all saw that in the emails that came out. Okay. In order to silence the conservatives and attack the conservative board. Okay, so everything that John Cobb said, he wasn't addressing anybody per se. He was addressing their behaviors. But yeah, what happened was that it was a slap in the face to her, a slap that she needs. Okay, it was a reality call. If she has a shred of a conscience, which I doubt, then she felt
no,
embarrassed and she felt attacked because she knows that
yeah,
this is exactly what she's been doing.
yeah, based on her response, it's clear that she did not get the whole point of anything, being that she thought they were attacking her speech. No one's attacking your speech. They're just saying your actions and your speech make it look like you're a very hateful person.
She is a hateful person. I'll say it.
So,
I've been to these meetings.
do you want to do the Christie clip now? Do we want to do that?
Yes, let's do that.
Because we know that it's not going to be, we know that we're going to potentially run into problems with it. So we'll do it now here towards the end. So at least that way I don't have to do too much editing. Did we want to do any other clips? I'm going to show your clip at the end. Sorry, Mariana, but we are going to see Mariana before we close out this episode because, she was throwing fireballs and we're going to re-show that again.
Let's do Christy because I want the parents need to understand.
Yeah, she went first, and you were kind of the follow-up act, and I think that was I think you guys did a great 1-2 like punch kind of a thing on that. The way she kind of set everything up, and then you kind of knocked it all down. So yeah, let's take a look at Christy's clip first, and then we'll chat for a few minutes, and then we'll watch Mariana. So here's Christy's clip. It is about 4.5 minutes.
Christy Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good evening, guys. How are we doing?
Welcome.
Well, first of all, Kelly, before I get into the books that I brought, I would like to thank you for everything you've done. And just like John Cobb said, I sit here tonight and we wonder why our schools have the problems we do with the bullying, the drugs. And I look at the parents, can't even stand. Abby and I don't see eye to eye. I stood. A lot of people and I stood. So
I stood. Oh, you stood for me. I get it. I apologize.
yeah. So I just
bad.
wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to give you some advice. I would run as fast as you could because the parents, if they don't change at home, nothing's going to change. So, and we saw a good example of that. We have shirts on that say bye, Felicia. How old are we?
I'm 61, so I don't know about the rest of everybody.
But so I would like to do some reading for you guys tonight. And this is called All Boys Aren't Blue. And I have 2 books, so I'm just going to kind of hit them up a little bit, okay? He reached his hand out and pulled out my DICK. He quickly went to giving me head. I just sat back and enjoyed it, as I could tell he was too. He was also definitely experienced in what he was doing because he went to work quite confidently. He then came up and asked if I wanted to try on him. I said, sure. I began and he said, watch your teeth. I didn't want to let him know I was inexperienced. So I slowed down and took my time and quickly got into a good rhythm. He didn't know I was a virgin and I did my best to act dominant like my favorite porn star. I was an actor and this was my movie. There was much excitement running through my body. This was much more than losing my virginity. For once, I was consenting to the sexual satisfaction of my body. This moment also confirmed that sex could look how I wanted it to. And then it could be passionate and kind, but mostly importantly, fun and satisfying. His body felt great in my mouth. I came up after a while. No, I don't have to. It actually gets worse, but okay. This is All Boys Aren't Blue. Okay, can I move to my next one then? Okay, guys. This is, yeah, and I don't have to read it all, guys. Okay, so this is Looking for Alaska. This is in Redland, and this is in Cedar Cliff.
We don't have a challenge on that one, do we?
I don't know. Mariana, she'll be talking about it next. Okay. Sorry guys, this is really small. So, have you ever gotten a blowjob? I've never given one, she answered, her little voice dripping with seduction. It was so brazen. I thought I would explode. I never thought I hold on guys. I never thought I would mean from Alaska hearing that stuff was one thing, but to hear her sweet little Roman voice go so sexy all of a sudden. No, I said, I have never think I want to, I said, and she kissed a little more. And then with me, it was so small I can hardly see it. Okay, let me get back here. The Brandy Bunch watching Marsha up to her and pulled out her penis. Wow, she said. What? She looked up at me, but didn't move her face away from my penis. It was weird. What do you mean weird? Just big, I guess. I could live without all those kind of statements, and waited, and we were both very still. She did not move a muscle in her body, and I did not move a muscle in mine. I knew at this point something else was supposed to happen. And that just
Mrs. Spangler, your time is up.
okay, guys. And that is looking for Alaska. And I just wanted one other comment. Those who push porn on our children are always on the wrong side of history. Thank you.
It is 4 minutes, but she was interrupted during her.
Mrs. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Spangler. David.
And I also want to point out, I didn't put that clip in there. I probably should have left it in there. But right after that, that's where David Britton felt the need. Right after Christy was reading this, that's when David Britton felt the need to clarify what someone else was speaking about before Christy. He felt the need to, right after that clip.
Okay, so it seems like we lost the clip, and I think we lost Jonathan here.
Oh, did we lose
for
me?
a minute.
Hold on. We're having an issue here. I'm not sure which one of us we
But
lost
as
or
you
which one
can
of us he lost.
see, that was Christy. Okay, reading All Boys Aren't Blue, and the challenge was ignored. Okay, it's a disgusting book. Committee here voted to our library. So parents, we need to do a better job. Okay, and demanding that this is removed. We definitely have to do a better job at this. So getting back to what I was saying, okay, we do have a anonymous private group that is making these decisions for us as to what they are going to expose our children to. I see John.
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So yes, that was the, as Mariana, I assume you went over that already, but I want to say real quick that I should have kept it in the clip, but I didn't. Right after that is when David Britton felt the need to clarify something that the person before Christy spoke about. That he chose that minute after Christy read that disgusting material. He felt that was the time to clarify a previous person's
Yes,
statement.
he was clarifying that Redland is having a musical.
Does that was that really the moment though, Mariana? Like, was that, in my opinion, that
No, it
was
wasn't. I
complete-
felt that it was disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yes, I felt it was disrespectful. I felt that he did not give the attention nor gave it the importance that it required. Okay, it was in poor and bad taste. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking either. That was yeah, I can't believe it. But yeah, I was just astonished. It was astonishing to me. After that, I was already beside myself with what Christy was reading. And then of course I just, that totally brought me right back. I was like, really, dude? Really? So work on your timing a little bit there, David Britton. And that stuff is in the school. And look, they didn't even want her reading it. They were trying to shut her. They didn't want her reading that stuff. That's why I think she was a little too accommodating for the board. I mean, she was running out of time, so it's good she did switch to the other book, but I think she should have got into some of the worst stuff that's yet to be in that book. Like, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Mariana, did we lose you this time?
I think we lost both of us there for a minute.
Okay. But anyway, that was
But
the clip of Christy.
yes,
Go ahead.
if I was her, I would have continued. Yeah, if I was her, I would have continued reading, but I do understand um Mrs. Cox, it was should our children be feeling being exposed to all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. They were uncomfortable. I can't imagine the kids in the library seeing this stuff. So yeah, absolutely. All right, is there anything
But
else
they
you
want to
wanted?
expose
Go
our
ahead.
children because Miss yeah, let me not say they. Mrs. Cox have been fighting also to remove this and fighting for this library. I'm sorry, I lost you there.
It's okay. Continue. If you can hear me, just go ahead.
Okay, so like I was saying, Mrs. Cox has been fighting long and hard for this to be removed. So if this is making adults feel uncomfortable, imagine our children. So why expose our children to this? Because a group of sick, twisted, demented people want this in our school. Because you got to be sick, twisted, demented, and I would even say demonically possessed to want any child to read this.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that shouldn't be for anybody. It's barely for adults anyway. So, is there anything else, Mariana, you want to discuss? Because I'm going to show your clip, and then we
And
can get ready to close out the episode.
making them understand that this is not okay.
Are you with me? Do we still have you? We are having a few technical issues here on this episode. We're not sure which one it's coming from. I'm going to play the clip of Mariana quick and see if we can get her back. Make sure we have her back, and then we'll get ready to close out the episode. So this is Mariana. She spoke a person or two right after Christy, and she's following up with what Christy said.
Mariana Reed.
Mr. Argott, will you give this to Miss Cox, Mrs. Cox? Thank you. Okay, so tonight I stand before you not to entertain fiction, but to confront it. There's a narrative circulating crafted by certain board members that claims that no inappropriate books in our schools were ever challenged. That's false. That's fiction. And it's time we call it for what it is, a deliberate attempt to rewrite history. Mrs. Cox, if you will look at that folder, look at the date and look at the who I also carbon copy to it. I carbon copy these people on purpose so that they say nobody could ever say they didn't receive it. Okay. In August 2025, I personally submitted formal challenges to 3 books. 3, not 0. I started with 3 intentionally to observe whether the process will be honored or ignored. And what happened? Silence, deflection, and now denial. The very individuals who now claim no challenges were made are the same ones who accuse Mrs. Kelly Brent of lacking transparency. The irony is staggering. Let's be clear. There was never a lack of transparency from Mrs. Brent. What there was, and still is a coordinated effort to undermine her. We saw that tonight. Not just by agenda-driven parents and community members, not just by administrators, but by veteran board members, one of whom is retiring tonight. To Mrs. Brent, job well done. You became a mama bear to the conservative board. You were willing to undertake any attack to protect them. You were targeted because you exposed the darkness. You pull back the curtain on the chicanery, the manipulation, and the hidden agendas that have plagued this board and this administration. And when truth threatens power, power retaliates. They didn't silence you, they revealed themselves. You did an incredible job. You stood firm when it would have been easier to fold. You chose transparency over comfort, integrity over popularity, and truth over the spin. And for that, the parents and the children of the West Shore School District owe you a debt of gratitude. We thank you, we honor you, and we love you. May God bless your future endeavors. I have a message from one of my sons, from Caleb. He said, thank you. Okay. Thank you for that talk that you gave him in civics.
Oh, sure.
He is now a voter, and I'm proud to say that he voted the right way. And he said that you are a blessing. To the community, I offer this reminder from Thomas Jefferson. The government you will elect is the government you deserve. If you want better, we must make demands better. If we want truth, we must defend it. And if we want accountability, we must show up again and again until the fiction is replaced with facts. In reference to the challenges that I gave Mrs. Cox, if she would see the date that was submitted in August, I also carbon copy to avoid people saying that they never received it. I also carbon copy Dawn Kiefer and Sean McCormick. And I have the email from Mr. Gay acknowledging receipt. To this day, crickets. So Mrs. Brent, you know what? You're a blessing. They don't know what they lost. God bless.
Thank you.
So that's what Mariana had to say, and I think you were the last speaker there, and I think that was the perfect way to close out that meeting too. They do it alphabetically, right? Is how they do the comments.
Yes, the last speaker was actually Abigail Turney's husband. That was like,
Oh yeah,
she
that's
served
right.
for 12
over
years.
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and we
Yeah, I
were
skipped
we were
over that.
expecting the rah-rah. Mhm.
Yeah. But the other side came out good, especially you and Christy and John Cobb were excellent counters to their speakers, and I think you guys made a bigger impact than what most of them. But of course, Sarah was also there speaking. Sarah Miller also spoke too. A lot of parents did come out last night to speak. So, and it wasn't just for the one side, it was for both sides. So, that was great to see, but it needs to keep happening. It needs to happen more often, especially now with the board the way it is.
And Jonathan, one thing I want the parents to expect in the next meeting in December is the restructuring meeting. So this is where they swear in the pickle. Okay, this is also where they swear in Dankowski, who is going to be Abigail Turney 2.0. Just warning you guys. Okay, so this is my prediction. Not that I know this for a fact because I do not. But what I predict that's going to happen here is that we're going to wind up with Brian Geiswhite. Okay. The one that said that these books are not in the West Shore School District along with Todd Stoltz. So I expect him to be the president again. So parents get ready to be yelled at, verbally abused, and escorted out of these meetings. When you bring truth, get ready for that because it's coming. Okay. And if I would have to make a guess as to who will be the vice president, I would probably say Cambic. Okay. Cambic is a social climber, like I've always said. Okay. Mr. Beaker, the Muppet Beaker. I wouldn't know why they will put him because he's effective. He hasn't been effective of anything. But anyway, that's who I would think. Okay. That would be the next president and vice president. But the issue here is that, getting back to Brian Geiswhite, remember that his wife used to be the head librarian for the West Shore School District, and she was also the one leading the Gay Alliance Club in the West Shore School District. I've shown you guys this clip before, many a times, the proof. And she's the one, as the head librarian, that allowed a lot of the smut to come into the school. So it's going to be Brian Geiswhite, her husband. Okay. And I believe, if I'm going to call it, I want to say maybe Cambic as the vice president, because I can't see Trump being a good vice president. Dormuff is just too new. Okay. it would be wise to put a conservative. That way we have, you know, two different people, okay, representing each party. But I doubt they're going to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, really, there's the Republicans. Do they have two people on the board right now? They only have David Britton, and
Three.
that's a stretch
We got
to
three.
call him.
We got Mandy Davis.
Oh
We
yeah,
got
Mandy
Brenda
Davis.
Cox.
Yeah,
Right, and we got David Brenton. So we got three.
yeah. Who is the middle? Brenda Cox.
Brenda Cox.
She's a conservative.
Oh yeah, she's a
Okay,
she's a
so
super conservative.
so
Brenda
she's a
Cox.
conservative. Okay, and then David Britton, who is a sometimer. Sometimes he's conservative, and sometimes he's not.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's not looking good in the West Shore School District, but we are going to keep following it. If they thought that the results of the elections was going to be like, oh, maybe the Boiling Point podcast will leave us alone now. Wrong. We're not going
And you know,
anywhere.
Jonathan, it's funny you say that because you know that I decided to retire from parental advocacy not too long ago. Well,
Yeah.
honey, I feel like the Godfather. They keep pulling me back in.
Yeah. But you know what? That's what they probably thought they were going to have a free ride, but we'll make sure that they understand that they do not, that we're going to still be here. We're still going to report it. We're still going to be reaching more people, and there is nothing you can do about that. And Penn Live and York Dispatch, get ready, because in a year or two, you're going to have some serious competition. We're not just going to be the small time podcaster leaking viewers out of you. You'll be hemorrhaging them soon.
I hope so. I hope, because they need to hemorrhage a little bit.
Yeah, we're working on it. We got lots of things, Mariana. There's lots of things that are in the works that we're, me and Nick, and then of course me and you. We're always working on, what's next or what else are we gonna do. So we're not going anywhere. We have lots of plans. 2024 is going to be a big year for us because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. And 2025 was a year of growth and trying to find the balance between doing this local stuff while still being able to cover some of the national stuff. I believe that I have figured out a semi balance for that. So we are going to start doing some national stuff. And we'll still be continuing to do the local stuff with the school board. And I don't know if I'm going to get to it next month because, like I said, a lot of stuff's happening in the West Shore School District, but we will be starting to cover Camp Hill and hopefully Cumberland Valley in early 2026 also. So we are going to be expanding the schools, and we're going to be expanding our national coverage. So look for that. We're going to be having a lot of content in 2026.
And for 2026, I can say that we're going to see a little bit more of Dose of Reality with Casey Reed, and he will be covering. Yeah, he'll still be covering a lot of the local thing like the West Shore, but he's also going to cover some of the things that are happening nationally that other people are not covering, they're not talking about, and things that should be spoken about.
Yeah. And also I have an episode. We have 2 episodes coming up yet, at least 2 more episodes before our Christmas episode. I'm going to be doing an episode on the SNAP benefits from the perspective of someone of a conservative Christian who actually gets food stamps and does need them. And so we're going to talk about that because I think a lot of people missed out on some of the people that actually do need the food stamps to serve as that stopgap and stuff. So we're going to do that. And then Mariana may be joining me for an episode. We are going to talk about the York police officers that were shot and killed in the line of duty in September, I believe it was, or October.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be talking about that as well. And, just like we always do, we don't usually cover stories right when they break. We like to we get all the facts. We like to get all the stuff out, and we like to have all of everything in place before we present it to the viewers. So that's why we've waited so long for the York police officers. And in early 2026, we might be doing yet another Charlie Kirk episode, or at least an episode on the events and the fallout and everything that's been happening with that. But again, we're waiting until we have some information and the facts that we're looking for before we proceed with that. So make sure you always know the Boiling Point podcast is going to come to you with the facts. We're not going to bullshit it. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to keep a bunch of stuff out. Even when it's not stuff we want to report, we're still going to do it. Mariana, thank you for having me on your show and for sharing the show so that we could talk about what was happening with the school district, because it's quite disturbing, and it needs to be talked about, and we'll continue to do that. Oh yeah, hold on, one more thing before we close all the way out. I don't know if I have the admittance in here. I don't think, doesn't look like you have the visual of the Facebook.
Oh, you mean the bribery?
Yeah, but I do want to put out the there's the evidence of the bribery. Oh wait, I do have it. It's right next to it. Ha ha. Here's the evidence of the bribery. Right here it is in black and white. Okay. Here is the admittance of the bribery right here in black and white. And we are going to continue to show this until a district attorney in the area decides to do something. So we're not going to stop with that either. That's still very much around. So look for us to follow up with that in 2026 as well. So Mariana, again, thanks for sharing your show so we could talk about this stuff. And, we got lots of stuff coming, especially next month. Tune in next month. If you don't think that we're doing an after show on the meeting where they're going to undo literally everything, I assure you, we will be doing a follow-up episode after that meeting.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
everybody, for
Jonathan,
tuning
thank
in.
you.
Marcus Fredrickson played us in. He's going to play us out. Make sure you check him out, reverbnation.com/Marcus Fredrickson, and check out our storefront, bonfire.com/store/The Boiling Point Podcast, and pick yourself up some apparel and support the brand. Until next time, this is not the end, only the beginning.
Trapped again, and fate as always has me wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend, someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again.